I'm in the best possible mood today, I can tell you, for several reasons. Number one is because I see all of you here. That's the most important thing. And then the mighty Spurs won today. and let me say, ladies and gentlemen, let me first recognize the Honorable Premier. The Honorable Premier, who is a West Ham supporter. We have our Madam President of the Senate, the Honorable Speaker of the House. We have the opposition representative, and we have all of our honorees, absolutely wonderful leaders in our community, people who have set incredible standards. And we're so happy that they're able to be here so that we can celebrate them today. And I thank you all for coming. For all of our ministers who are here, all parliamentarians that are here, and the families of the honorees, we just thank you. Thank you very much for being here. The Parliamentary Prayer Breakfast group was set up, operates primarily to organize the annual National Prayer Breakfast that is held for all parliamentarians and then for leading civil servants and other leaders in our community each year. And we decided, the Parliamentary Committee decided that we really needed to do a little bit more. And last year, we began with a celebration, a luncheon celebration, where we honored 4 former members of Parliament here. And today, of course, we're honoring 4 former premiers of our country, people who have just been absolutely outstanding in the service that they have given to our community. And I think we never can say thank you too much to people who give the kind of time that they have given to Bermuda and to serving the people of Bermuda. So never, I don't think, we can say thank you too much. And I'm just grateful that you've all decided to come and share in the celebration of our honorees today. I just also wanted to say that we took another step in the prayer breakfast group in deciding to have lunches, and we are now having lunches, smaller lunches, with individual members of Parliament, where we have a member of Parliament from either side of the floor of the House come. We have breakfast together, we pray together, and you know what we believe is that if we pray together and if we encourage each other, then certainly it's going to lead to much positivity in Bermuda and for what happens to the people of Bermuda. So we're just trying to do our little bit to move us forward. So we certainly encourage friendship amongst all those who are serving our people, and that's our purpose. So thank you very much all for coming here today. I hope you enjoy the luncheon. You're in the best part of the country up here. When you look out at that window, nowhere else in the island that you're going to be able to look out and see what you see looking out these windows. So thank you, and I hope looking out of the windows helped you to enjoy the food that you are going to eat. So again, to all of you, thank you, and particularly we want to give blessings to our honorees who are here today, who we'll hear much more about as we move the program along. Thank you again for being here. I'd now like to ask if Melvin Joe can come forward, please, and offer a prayer. Just while Melvin's coming too, just to let you know who the actual the committee are, the Parliamentary Prayer Breakfast Committee consists of Melvin Bassett, who's been helping you all take your seats, Melvin Joe, Michael Markham, and Walter Lister, former Deputy Speaker of the House, Walter Lister, and myself right now are the members of the committee. And we are looking to actually have more members of Parliament, in fact, join in with the group. So that's something that we're moving towards. And I miss one person, I miss a lady that I really should never have not recognized. And she's looking at me now and she's giving me the eye to say that, I'm going to get you. And that is former Senator Dr. Norma Osgood, who's here. We thank you very much for your presence. Melvin.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, good me. Oh, well. Yeah. And and Judy is the most important person on the committee. Judy Benavides is the most important person. Yeah. If Judy Benavides wasn't in our group, we all wouldn't be here today, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. She's the glue. She's the glue that keeps us together and drives us. So yeah, blessings, many blessings to Judy Benavides, who's with us. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
How could I miss Judy?
Greetings, family. And on behalf of the Parliamentary Prayer Breakfast Committee, I respectfully invite everyone to join us as we bow our heads for the prayer of thanksgiving. Most gracious and merciful Father, creator of all the heavens and the earth, and their fullness thereof, we come before you at your throne of grace to give our thanks, praise, honor, and glory to you for all the blessings and rewards you have so abundantly chosen to bestow upon us. And as we, the people, come together, we invite your one and only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, who said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them." For this very special day of celebration, to collectively show our love, respect, and to give our thanks to 3 of our former government leaders, the Honorable Sir John W. Swan, KBE, JP, the Honorable Dame Jennifer Smith, DBE, JP, the Honorable William Alexander Scott, CBE, JP, for their commitment of time, resources, effort, and distinguished service to our community. Collectively, we come together to honor them for their understanding and the oftentimes thankless task of carrying the burden of responsibility for the well-being of the people of Bermuda with their courage, character, and confidence leading the way. We also ask, Father, that you bless and sanctify the food that has been prepared for the nourishment of our bodies, along with the hands that help to prepare it. We thank you, Father, for giving us this opportunity to come before you on this special day of celebration, knowing that our prayer of thanksgiving is submitted in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and by the power and authority of his name. Amen, amen, and amen.
Thank you very much, Melvin. We now have a musical selection by Miss Laverne Daniels. Laverne, would you please come forward?
Good afternoon. My desire is to be used of God, and I pray that this selection will be a blessing. In particular, I direct it, of course, to our honorees. God bless you. Who abide in his shadow for life? Say to the Lord, my refuge, my rock, in whom I trust, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under his wings your refuge, his faithfulness your shield, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. You need not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day. The thousands fall about you, near you it shall not come, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. For to his angels he's given a command to guard you in all of your ways. Upon their hands they will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you, and hold you in the palm of his hand, of his
Thank you very much, Laverne. And she's one of our top civil servants as well in the country. So another big round of applause for her. At this moment, I ask you all to enjoy lunch until we return for the presentation of our honorees. That's hot. That's see on TV.
I need one. Mr. Premier, Mrs. Bird, distinguished honorees, family and friends, let me say at the outset that I had some hesitation in having this role today because I'm trying to keep a kind of low profile as a retiree. It hasn't worked, but since I was asked by the chairman, who is my older brother, my former minister, and now has much more hair than I had no choice but to say yes. Nonetheless, I deem it an immense honor and privilege to have the opportunity to read the biographies of three distinguished people. And I've had the privilege, the honor of working closely with them all. With Sir John, I was at the Cabinet Office as Assistant Cabinet Secretary during the last years of his service. I was there when Dame Jennifer arrived and served with her for a couple of years and worked closely with former Premier Scott after I had gone to the Ministry of Labour, Home Affairs and Public Safety. So this is an honor, a great honor, one I dreamed not of. Our first honoree. And let me say at the outset that what I shall read has been expanded somewhat from what has been presented to you, because in my view, each of the honorees deserved so much more than could be accommodated on the program. So here we go. The Honorable William Alexander Scott, CBE JP, served as Premier of Bermuda from July 2003 to October 2006 under the Progressive Labour Party. Born in Bermuda in 1940, Mr. Scott is the eldest son of the late Willard A. Scott and E. Lucille Scott, née Jackson, of Khyber Pass, Warwick. He grew up in Warwick and attended Purvis Primary School, the Berkeley Institute, and Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Whilst at Temple, he was a member of the varsity soccer team and president of the International Club for Foreign Students. Upon his return to Bermuda with his Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Graphic Arts and Architectural Design, Mr. Scott in 1964 started Scott Crafts, an advertising and public relations firm. Significantly, it was because of his advertising and PR background and company that Mr. Scott was later able to offer his services as a consultant to the leaders of the PLP. One, a former Berkeley friend, the late Honorable L. Frederick Wade, and party leader, the late Honorable Dame Lois M. Brown Evans. Former Premier Scott has provided distinguished service to Bermuda in many areas. He was a founding member of Bermuda's original Big Brothers organization. He was one of the 5 members of the Pitt Royal Commission appointed in 1978 to investigate the root causes of the civil disturbances of Bermuda in 1977. Following the Pitt Commission, and as a result of that experience, hearing fellow Bermudians give evidence and complain that no one listened to them, Mr. Scott produced one of the first local radio talk shows in 1979 called Your Turn. It aired for several years and gave the public a forum to have their views and opinions voiced. In 1985, he was appointed a PLP member of the Senate and later promoted to opposition leader of the Senate in 1989. He was first elected to Parliament in October 1993 as a representative of Warwick South East, and in August of 1996, he became deputy leader of the opposition PLP. Following the PLP's inaugural victory in 1998, he was appointed to the PLP's first cabinet as the Minister of Works and Engineering. He succeeded the Honorable Dame Jennifer Smith as Premier of Bermuda following the PLP victory in the 2003 general election. As indicated earlier, He served as Premier until October 2006, achieving much during those few short years. Following are significant milestones and accomplishments of his premiership. On 5th of September 2003, merely a month after he took office, Hurricane Fabian pounded Bermuda with devastating results, including widespread damage to buildings and vegetation throughout the island, including structural damage to the causeway, major power outages, and tragically, the loss of the lives of 4 Bermudians. However, under Premier Scott's inspired leadership, the island rallied. We came together as never before, and we were open for business again in just over a week. Premier Scott proceeded to institutionalize change and empower the people with a series of initiatives. The Ombudsman Act of 2004 enabled private citizens to seek redress against the government, its agencies and officials. The Office of the Ombudsman was established, and our first ombudsman was appointed. The Bermuda Independence Commission was established, an initiative that followed discussions begun by the United Bermuda Party from 1966 to 1985. The BIC report provided a community-wide conversation on all issues and questions raised. In 2005, the Strategic Orbital Platform Location in Space initiative was introduced, providing a business opportunity for Bermuda to enter into a venture that could rival the offshore business and potentially become the third leg of our economy. Former Premier Scott regrets that internal political events overtook this venture. However, he believes that Bermuda should evaluate the viability of revisiting this platform and initiative. Also in 2005, Premier Scott began the preparatory work for what would become the document Charting Our Course, Sustaining Bermuda, in the areas of housing, transportation, schools, education, and economic development. Further, in 2005, a discussion paper entitled Public Access to Information, PATI, was tabled in Parliament. The public would be given the statutory right to access as much government-held information as possible. Meanwhile, personal information would be protected, and an independent group would be identified to adjudicate issues and hear appeals. The following year, the much-awaited new Berkeley Institute Senior Secondary School was opened. This event was of very personal significance for Premier Scott. First, his great-great-grandfather was one of the founding fathers of the Berkeley Educational Society, the parent body of the school, and the second black man elected to the House of Parliament. Now, with the opening of the new school, history would record that a family member would not only lead the parliament in which he had sat, but also oversee the building and cut the ribbon of the school of further education that he had envisioned. During Premier Scott's administration, the London office was established, an outcome of the requirement to engage in overseas consultative meetings, to engage with the United Kingdom government, and to conduct business for a sophisticated international jurisdiction like Bermuda. In the wake of Hurricane Fabian, Premier Scott initiated discussions about forming a catastrophe risk fund and tabled the idea in London at a dependent territories meeting with a British Whitehall presence. He canvassed CARICOM 2006 gatherings and concluded with meeting World Bank representatives in New York. He played an important role leading to the ratification of the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. In 2006, the Premier led a delegation to Washington, D.C. to meet with members of Congress and senior officials of the Bush government to discuss a number of matters of interest to Bermuda. Those exchanges led to the initial talks of the US resuming a Coast Guard presence in Bermuda and our waters. Let me interject here. I had the privilege of being with Premier Scott and their delegation. I want to share with you the occasion when we, the group, were walking through Congress. We were on Capitol Hill, walking on corridor. We saw lots of people gathered in a hall. We're Bermudians. We were curious, what's going on? We learned that it was a meeting for constituents from the state of Illinois. We were invited in, and my goodness, it's an occasion, sir, that we shall never forget, because we had the opportunity to hear then Senator Barack Obama addressing his constituents. It became clear to us at that moment, I think, we were listening to the next president of the United States. I had to interject there. CIT was established, a proud achievement for the Scott administration. Once internal party political events led to the end of his term as premier, Mr. Scott remained in the Parliament until retiring from politics in the lead up to the 2012 general election, after representing Warwick South East for almost 20 years. He was succeeded in that constituency by his son, William Lawrence Alexander Scott Jr., thereby continuing the family legacy of public service to the community. In the 2013 Queen's Birthday Honours List, the Honourable Alex Scott was appointed Command of the Order of the British Empire for service to Bermuda. He was deservedly recognised for a distinguished political career spanning 27 years. During this period, he had served his constituents and our country with vigour, respect, sincerity, and integrity. He says that he enjoys life away from politics. Now that he has time to pursue his interest in writing and to cheer on his sporting favourites, Formula One racer Lewis Hamilton, and a football club whose name I cannot pronounce, as a Tottenham Hotspur supporter. But I expect you're spoiling yourself, Robin. Yes, it's Arsenal. For myriad achievements and notwithstanding, former Premier Scott believes that, his myriad achievements notwithstanding, former Premier Scott believes that life is nothing without family, and that family has always been a beacon of strength and love for him. He and his late wife, Olga, who he describes as his greatest supporter and staunchest defender, and the wind beneath his wings, were married for 50 years until her passing in 2022. He has 2 adult children, Mrs. Robin Eve and Mr. Lawrence Scott, Member of Parliament, and he is the granddad of Natanya and Josiah Eve. In the words of former Premier Scott, first you learn and earn, then you serve. Ladies and gentlemen, former Premier, the Honourable W. Alexander Scott, CBE, JP.
Hold on. And he wants to take a picture. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Picture ready.
Oh. You'll make me feel important. Okay.
You sure you want to give me a mic? Mr. Premier, Sir John, Speaker, protocol has been established. MP Scott, you don't know how it is to live with that young man if he isn't recognized. I didn't know if I would make it here to the podium because at the table, once folks began to go through the little outline of our various accomplishments, quickly they settled on the fact that I was given a CBE. And one person said, "What's a CBE?" And I didn't want them to continue to be unenlightened. I said, for me, it meant cute, black, and egotistical. I don't know if that's the original intent. But speaking more directly to this affair today, and the fact that I've been, along with Sir John and Dame Jennifer, recognized about 2 years ago. My late wife and I were showing a friend who was visiting the island, all around the island, lighthouse, dockyard, and of course Horseshoe Beach. As we got out of the car and started towards the beach, there was about half a dozen fellows, 2 or 3 taxi drivers, minibus operator. And I said, well, looks like we have a quorum here, quite a meeting going on. And they said, oh, yeah, certainly. As I walked away, I overheard one say, who's that? The other one said, it's that boy Scott. The one that was a premier? I said, yeah. Shucks, I thought he was gone. Which brings me to today. I'm closer to the end than probably the beginning. And for the parliamentary group to recognize myself, to recognize my efforts to contribute to the community, I not only take it as an honor, but it carries so much weight that you are, in my case, Sir John and Dame Jennifer, letting us hear and smell the flowers before we're gone. And I'll conclude by strewing some flowers back to you, Mr. Chairman. I was not always as quiet and as dignified as I try to be now. I was a hitman for the PLP. And if you want to have a graphic picture of what that meant, I moved about Parliament and about the political scene almost as one does, with 2 6-guns on the side, ready to shoot down in one direction or the other anybody who took us on. Now, if there's press here, I don't mean literally guns. I don't mean literally shoot. I'm talking figuratively. But I attended every breakfast, every parliamentary breakfast. And before I went in, I left my guns outside the door, because the Parliamentary Breakfast Group, or the Parliamentary Committee, for those who don't know, they are not a partisan group. They're not even a bipartisan group. They are, in actual fact, a body of members who are parliamentarians. The President of the Senate is here. We in the Senate, well, exclude myself, in the Senate they are civil. They get their business done in a dignified way. The parliamentary group is like that. The parliamentary group, I think, make the distinction between politics and politicians and parliamentarians and what Parliament could be and should be. I'm a good example of what it should not be. These members carry on the business of bringing parliamentarians together. And if only this can carry over to the young folks, I say to you, Mr. Chairman, verily, verily, I say unto you, keep up the good work. Keep this dignified approach to our parliamentary activities. And you know, some of it may spill over to our political activities. We are not the Bermuda that I found when I came along. Many of those battles are over. Well, they're not over, but we're beginning to manage them. For the younger generation, you stand as an excellent example of what parliamentary behavior, parliamentary process, parliamentary business can and should be, and how it should be conducted. I congratulate you on you, sir, and the chair you sit, but your whole organization. And I was almost going to say, I conclude on this, and this sounds like a preacher on Sunday morning taking up his second or third collection. I end with this. The young folks can only raise to the level that we hold them responsible to. And we as a small community have a wide reach. And so therefore, let's hope that the spirit of the parliamentary group, the dignified approach of the parliamentary group, will make our parliament both respected here and elsewhere. Thank you for recognizing myself for the contribution we made, and to Dame Jennifer's family, thank you for the sacrifice you as a family made for Dame Jennifer, and give her my best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, former Premier Scott, for those very, very moving, very helpful words. I have no doubt that when awarding you the CBE, Her late Majesty was thinking of your service to Bermuda, but upon reflection, she would agree that you were cute and black, but not egotistical. Ladies and gentlemen, one moment, please. Thank you. one moment in time. That's all it was. But it took a lifetime of hope and dreams, struggle and sacrifice, commitment and determination to bring it to fruition. Like the magnificent solar system phenomenon of Halley's Comet, the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party's date with destiny was an eagerly awaited occurrence whose eventuality, for all its wonder, was a natural expression of progress. I have just shared with you the words of our second honoree this afternoon, the inimitable, the Honourable Jennifer Meredith Smith, DBE, Dr. Humane Letters, JP, Premier of Bermuda from 1998 to 2003. It's an extract from the foreword of Date with Destiny, the late Tamel Simons' treasured photographic history of the day of and the days immediately following the Progressive Labour Party's watershed general election victory of 9th of November 1998. The Honourable Dame Jennifer Smith, one who earned her place in Bermuda's history as the first Progressive Labour Party Premier of Bermuda, the first female senator, and the first female Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly. Impressive credentials indeed, but wait. The daughter of prominent St. Georgians, the big sister of Andy, a proud St. Georgian, a passionate supporter of the light blue and dark blue, oh dear, during the annual Cup Match Classic, a lifelong member of Richard Allen Amy Church, a product of East End Primary School, a Berkeleyite, an outstanding student, very importantly, a member of the Greenhouse. Yes, she redeemed herself there. Can there be any more impressive early life credentials? Already an excellent artist, following her studies with art teacher Charles Lloyd Tuck at Berkeley, Dame Jennifer attended the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, where she studied both fine art and graphic art, whilst preparing for her associate degree, which she earned in 1970. Upon her return to Bermuda, always an excellent writer, she began work as a political reporter and editor for the Bermuda Recorder newspaper. She later joined Scott's Craft, which was headed by her political colleague, the esteemed former Premier, the Honourable Alexander Scott. She is an aficionado of the arts. Whilst a student at Berkeley, she pursued dance at the Jackson School of Performing Arts, later led her own dance troupe focusing on African dance, and for several years choreographed the cotillion for the Berkeley Institute graduation ball. Even when her professional and political careers were in full flow, she was able to pursue her passion for the arts. She found time to paint and served as trustee of the Bermuda National Gallery. Whilst Premier and a volunteer at Masterworks, she was instrumental in the gallery gaining space at the arrowroot factory in the Botanical Gardens. And she would read, with Bermuda history and biographical novels among her favorites. Dame Jennifer was a year behind me at Berkeley. We knew her as an avid reader and a conscientious student, but hardly imagined that one day she would pursue a career in politics. Some thought she might become a lawyer, whilst the majority felt that she was destined for a career in teaching, principally because she loved to wield her red pen over her fellow students' writing. And those of you, former civil servants and politicians who have worked with Dame Jennifer will know that, are you shaking your head, Mr. Premier? Will know that red pen. She was never without that red pen. Her foray into politics began in 1972, when she became the youngest woman to run in a general election in Bermuda. In 1980, she became the youngest member of the Senate, and in 1989 was elected to the House of Assembly, representing her beloved St. George's North. She was elected deputy leader of the PLP in 1994, and succeeded to the leadership 2 years later upon the death of her dear friend and mentor, L. Frederick Wade. Then, that tumultuous 9th of November 1998, when she led the PLP to victory in the general election and became premier, a truly notable achievement on the international level, as it was one of the few instances that a female leader had been succeeded by another female, as Dame Jennifer had followed the Honourable Dame Pamela Gordon of the United Bermuda Party. Following the general election, Dame Jennifer served simultaneously as Premier and Education Minister. Her studied capacity to set the tone, tempo, and standards of governance in the new Bermuda included the delivery of an array of services characterized by the highest standards of integrity, transparency, and skill. Her accomplishments as Premier are legion. Annual voter registration was ended by a passage of the Parliamentary Amendment Act No. 2, 1999, and replaced with a system of automatic registration using existing government computer records. A 2001 order in council and a subsequent 2002 constitutional amendment led to the establishment of 36 single-seat constituencies in Bermuda, which closely approximated an equitable voter distribution. One man, one vote, each vote of equal value. She championed a significant number of other constitutional reforms, including greater powers of the Auditor General, steps leading to the creation of the Office of the Ombudsman, later implemented by her successor, and giving more independence to the Parliamentary Registrar. There was the passage of the Commission of Unity and Racial Equality, 1999, and passage of the Abolition of Capital Punishment and Corporal Punishment Act, 1999. Smaller class sizes for more intimate instruction of students were introduced in our primary schools. The Central Policy Unit within the Cabinet Office was established to coordinate the delivery of government policy more effectively, accompanied by the introduction of policy analysts in each ministry. The first major review of the civil service to promote efficiency, succession planning, and career development was facilitated under Dame Jennifer. Bermuda gained associate membership in CARICOM. The post of Attorney General became a political appointment. And St. George's and its fortifications gained World Heritage Site status. Those are among her long list of accomplishments. Time passed, and in November 2010, Dame Jennifer was sworn in at Government House as Minister of Education, the second occasion that she would lead that ministry. She had previously held the position of Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, a position from which she had resigned in order to accept a cabinet position. This was her first cabinet position since resigning as Premier in 2003. She's a member of the Council of Women World Leaders, an international network of current and former women presidents and prime ministers whose mission is to mobilize the highest level women leaders globally for collective action on issues of critical importance to women and equitable development. Honors and awards have been heaped upon Dame Jennifer. In 2001, she received the Woman of Great Esteem Award from Q Kingdom Ministries in New York. She was awarded the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters by Morris Brown College, Atlanta, Georgia, in May 2000. A similar doctorate by Mount St. Vincent University, Halifax, Nova Scotia, in October 2000. And by her alma mater, the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, in June 2003. She was awarded the title of Dame Command of the British Empire by Her late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, in the June 2005 Queen's Birthday Honours. In the words of Buckingham Palace, This prestigious recognition was bestowed upon her in acknowledgement of her dedicated service to Bermuda and its people. Following are the words of the late PLP veteran journalist, Ira Phillip, MBE. Jennifer Smith was greeted by deafening roars when she finally emerged from headquarters. By then, it was well into the early hours of November 10. She had been cloistered inside, choosing her cabinet and consulting with party strategists before the swearing in at Government House the next day. The Premier-to-be did not hide her jubilation in making her victory speech. Election day was truly a date with destiny, she told the cheering crowd. Tomorrow, the sun will rise on a new Bermuda, and I want to thank you for making it happen. Dame Jennifer, we the people want to thank you for making it happen. Ms. Dame, the Honorable Dame Jennifer Smith. Now, thank you. I think her... Terlina Murphy, Dame Jennifer's niece, will now come forward. Please see the honor her.
Good afternoon, everyone. Premier, Kristen, if you're wife, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, protocols already being established. On behalf of Dame Jennifer's family, I stand before you today to accept this prestigious award at this parliamentary luncheon. It is an honor to be here, and I want to express our heartfelt gratitude for the recognition bestowed upon Dame Jennifer, and her remarkable contributions to our beloved country. Today is a significant moment in our family, for it marks the first time we will speak publicly on behalf of Dame Jennifer. I'm here with mixed emotions as I share the news on behalf of the family of her diagnosis with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia. It is a disease that has progressively affected her over the years, and much like the similar journey of the Bruce Willis family courageously shared almost 2 years ago, Dame Jennifer is an accomplished woman who has had many firsts in her life. However, this is the first time our family has had to navigate the challenges of managing a public figure's wishes while dealing with a personal, deeply personal and private struggle. We have witnessed the gradual loss of her love for reading and painting, but there are moments when we catch glimpses of her true personality. Her love for music and the occasional dance still happen. In this difficult journey, we have been blessed with an incredible support system, and I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the caregivers and in particular, Anna Daly, who has been a faithful and dedicated companion to my aunt. Their respect and personal attention has been invaluable, providing her with the care that she deserves. I also wish to express our gratitude for her friends who have lovingly protected her and created safe spaces for her to express their love and her love. They have taken her out for drives and pampered her with manicures and pedicures, showing her the joys of life that she still deserves. Throughout this process, I have encountered many individuals who are facing the challenges of caring for their loved ones. The financial burden that comes with caregiving is something that we often overlook. Families find themselves burdened with debt, sometimes even taking out mortgages on their homes, with the responsibility for often falling on the shoulders of the next generation.
These are issues that we need to address and understand better as a society. Additionally, I would also like to shed light on the agencies involved in caregiving. There seems to be a lack of oversight in this area of business. Often, the focus is simply on filling a client's need without the proper monitoring or training, resulting in financial burdens and inadequate care for those in need. Caring for our loved ones should not be solely about profit. It should come with the necessary controls and oversight to ensure the highest standards of care. For those who know Dame, you are aware of her vibrant and social personality, being surrounded by people who love her in a care home that employs individuals who are loving and compassionate is what we believe is best for her. In closing, I want to express our deepest gratitude for acknowledging Dame Jennifer's contribution to our country, and it is through her dedication and unwavering commitment that Bermuda has flourished. We are grateful for your support and for standing with us during our challenging time. Let us continue to raise awareness and provide the necessary support to those facing similar struggles. Thank you.
Thank you, Terlina, for that exceedingly beautiful tribute on behalf of your dear Aunt Jennifer. Be assured that she and the rest of your family are in our thoughts and prayers and embedded in our love at this time. Give her a big hug on behalf of us all. Thank you. The Honourable Sir John W. Swan, KBE, JP, Chief Executive and Chairman of the Swan Group, and a national hero of Bermuda, is a real estate developer, political luminary, and philanthropist who served as Premier of Bermuda from January 1982 to August 1995, thereby becoming our island's longest-serving Premier to date. A proud graduate of Howard Academy and West Virginia Wesleyan College in Buckhannon, West Virginia, Sir John began his business career as a 27-year-old in 1962 when he founded John W. Swan Agency, a real estate development and savings and loan company. Its services offered included architecture, residential construction, land development, rentals, and real estate management. Between 1965 and 1975, the company developed and built a remarkable 40% of the residential homes in Bermuda and enabled many average Bermudians to purchase their own homes. Over the years, he's helped to modernize the city of Hamilton through a number of commercial and residential building projects, including Atlantis on Parliament Street, the island's first 60 condominium apartment complex, and his most recent project, 141 Front Street, Bermuda's first 10-story commercial development that stands, and I'll use this word for you, Sir John, majestically at the entrance to the city of Hamilton. Sir John was also being one of the strongest opponents for the development of the City of Hamilton waterfront. Prior to his involvement in politics, he was a founding member of the Bermuda Monetary Authority, a director of the Bermuda Chamber of Commerce, and a director of the Bermuda Employees Council. In addition, he served on several public company boards. Our honoree's distinguished political career spanned 25 years, during which period he contributed to the growth and development of Bermuda as one of the most successful small island nations in the world, particularly in the realm of insurance and reinsurance. His political career had begun when he was elected to Parliament in 1972 as one of the 2 representatives of Paget East, where he served until his retirement from politics. Also in 1972, he was appointed chairman of the Bermuda Hospitals Board. He served as Minister of Marine and Air Services from 1975 to 1976, and Minister of Immigration and Labor from 1976 until assuming the premiership in 1982. As Minister of Immigration and Labor, with responsibility for Home Affairs, Sir John Swan played a key role in introducing social reforms following the riots that occurred in 1977, including a series of housing and education initiatives. As indicated earlier, he retired as Premier in August 1995, and from politics altogether in 1997. Under his stewardship as Premier, the government completed in excess of 20 major projects. However, the most significant legacy of his political career was negotiation and completion of the tax treaty with the United States. Sir John led the Bermuda delegation that traveled to Washington, D.C. in 1988 to advance the tax treaty, and sitting in front of me, I think, is Gary Phillips, who was among the delegation, in 1998 in order to advance the tax treaty negotiations. To this end, the Bermuda delegation held several meetings with the most senior officials in the US government, including President Ronald Reagan and Vice President George H.W. Bush. It included the Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of State, the National Security Advisor, and members of Congress. The agreement resulted in the development of the insurance and reinsurance industries and established Bermuda as a major offshore financial center, thereby creating the foundation of the island's stable economy, well-developed infrastructure, and regulatory framework. Sir John has received numerous local and international awards and has served on many local and international boards. He was made Knight Command of the British Empire by Her late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II in 1990, was inducted as an honorary fellow at Bermuda College in 1998, and has been the recipient of 3 honorary doctorates in Humane Letters from his alma mater, West Virginia Wesleyan College, and from Morris Brown College, Atlanta, Georgia, and an honorary doctorate in law from Atlantic Union College, New Jersey. In 1986, he was awarded the Medal of Distinction in recognition of his humanitarian endeavors from the International Association of Lions Clubs. He has received the International Medal of Excellence from the Poor Richard Club of Philadelphia. Let me interject. It's somewhat ironic to talk about Sir John receiving something from the Poor Richard Club, if you get my drift. It is the oldest press and advertising club in Philadelphia, and Sir John has been admitted as a senator to the membership and fellowship of the Senate of the Junior Chamber of Commerce. In 2002, he was awarded the St. Paul's AME Church Outstanding Service Award, and his most recent accolade was being named a National Hero of Bermuda in 2016, thus becoming our island's only living national hero. He has participated in several forums overseas, including the Hoover Institution at Stanford University in California, the Aspen Foundation for Humanistic Studies, the World Economic Forums in Davos, Switzerland, British Commonwealth Parliamentary Association meetings in Switzerland, the Ditchley Foundation Forum in England. He's also an honorary Rotarian, a former member of the Young Presidents Organization, and a member of San Francisco's Bohemian Club, which has an exclusive membership of US and global leaders, including former presidents and leading businessmen. An avid yachtsman, although he told me a moment ago he's now retired from yachting, Sir John was married to the late Lady Jacqueline Swan from August 1965 until her passing in July 2016. He has 3 adult children, Alison, Amanda, and Nicholas, all of whom work with his company, the Swan Group, and 3 grandchildren, Hayden, Sebastian, and Amelia. Sorry. Following is an excerpt from a poem written by Dr. Shangri-La Durham Thompson in honor of Sir John upon his receiving the Legacy Insight Award at the Leopards Club 2 years ago. She wrote, "Perhaps the study of his life will advance a higher consciousness and teach us to value people, to meet them where they are, because he truly connected with those he served. He acted on what he believed and spoke his truth with strong resolve. And we learned that simply smiling can change the world. To a quintessential giant, a national hero, to Sir John, she wrote, I simply say, well done. And Sir John, we say to you, all of us, well done. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir John Swan.
She just said, I don't need water, I'm gonna be short. You ever heard of a politician being short? Do I look short to you? Well, thank you very much. I'm indeed honored, particularly to be among so many friends. To the Parliamentary Breakfast Committee, I say to you, well done. To my friends who've been involved with this project, I say to you, we're all honored. Whether we stand here before you today, or whether we have worked with you tomorrow, or we've done with you in the past, we're all brothers and sisters in the betterment for Bermuda. And so I'm honored today to stand here to receive this award, which, by the way, does not represent me. It represents all of you. One of the things I learned in life, you can't do it by yourself. You need everybody to hold hands together, to think together, and to do things together. There's many mentions of my achievements, but I would not be the person I am if somebody else hadn't put their hand on my shoulder or whispered in somebody's ear or said something nice about me that allowed me to take the next step in my life. And all of you can reflect on your lives the same way. I look at my friend Alex. When I returned home, he was just finishing the Berkeley Institute with my wife. And we became friends. When he wanted to start Scotcraft, my wife said to me, you have to help him to start Scotcraft. Remember that, Alex?
I remember an awful lot.
Yep. So I was involved with the beginning of Scotcraft, you know, and that was a very important thing because it represented the beginning of my what was the first involvement outside my business was with Scotcraft. Jennifer's mentioned today, and Jennifer was my reporter, or my editor of the recorder which I had at the time. and she was the editor of the Recorder. We walk down the paths of life with each other. We share our common destiny of trying to make Bermuda a better place. But you can only make Bermuda a better place when we all try to make each other better and we prepare Bermuda for the next generation. Because if not, we have not done our chore. I've always said, and people say to me, how come you just say what you want to say? Because I believe there are only two powers in life. One belongs to God, and one belongs to those who would destroy you. The first power is love. And the second power is fear. And when you can put aside fear and tune into love, love your neighbor, love your friends, love those you've never met before, you'll find out that you have a common destiny because you have a measure in a relationship with God. So we can talk about, we went to church this morning, but I hope when you came out, you said to yourself, all those I sat with and all those I will meet today, I will find some way in which I embrace them with love. And that's what, so whenever I speak, the first words coming out of my mouth is, I love Bermuda and I love its people. That's been the strength and that's been the power of my journey. And so when I stand before you here today, I say to you all, until you can love Bermuda, love its people, and we share a common destiny of love, we are not doing what we're meant to do. We're not fulfilling the purpose. We are just producing rhetoric. It's very important because as we bring forth honorees, this should not be the only one. We should honor all those. And by the way, all of you should be honored because I can't look at anybody's face here today and can't think of something that they've done that really has made Bermuda a better place. So I say to all of you, I'm not here to pat myself on the back. I'm here to challenge you. I'm here to say to you, if we leave this place today and recognize Dame Jennifer, Alex Scott, John Swan, and many others who've given their service to this country, I say to you that we should honor them and we should try to take and encourage that we live up to a measure of responsibility. I was the other day listening to a little joke, and we can't always be so serious. There was this chap who prayed, and all of you know what the prayer's like. He prayed every day, for all his life. He prayed to God that God, he said, God, the only thing I want you to do besides listening to my prayer is to let me win the lottery. And he prayed for all his life. God, let me win the lottery. He died and went to heaven. He got up in heaven, guess the first person he met was God. And he was shocked that God was still waiting for him. And God said to him, my son, you're here at last. He says, I welcome you because you've been one of the great students of mine. You've prayed every day. He says, yes, God, I prayed every day. I even prayed, Lord, that you'd let me win the lottery. And God says, I heard your prayer. I heard your prayers. I heard your request. Let me win the lottery. And God said, I listened to you, and I wanted to fulfill your wish. He said, but God, why didn't you? He said, because you never bought the ticket. And isn't that life? Isn't that life that we've got to buy into whatever we do? Isn't that, if we want to get something, it's not what you want, but what you need. Your needs can always be met. He's always there waiting to give it to you. And when I look at around this room here and the contributors that have led Bermuda to where it is today. And then given the premier the charge of responsibility to carry it on, we all will hold each other accountable. We'll all stand up and wish each one of us well. I remember Gary and Bobby being down in the cabinet office, going up to Washington. That was a challenge. But you know, I saw 64 senators. And I got to a stage where I'll never forget the senator that made the greatest impression on me. It was Senator Byrd from West Virginia. Known well for his racism, he was a Ku Klux Klan. He was a man that didn't like black people. Made it clear he didn't. And I decided I wanted to go into his office. But instead of taking the delegation, I said, I'm going by myself. Because you get a delegation, somebody might say something that really, just a little slip, and boom, you're finished. So I go to Senator Byrd's office after an interview with his staff at first in his office. And I asked them, I said, what is it that Senator Byrd has of interest that really turns him on? And they told me he was a coal miner's son, finished school at 8 years old, but had taken Shakespeare as his hobby to be able to be verbose and to be able to express himself. And I said, thank you very much. I got into Senator Byrd's office. At 10 o'clock in the morning, my appointment was full for 10 to 15 minutes only. And Senator Byrd was there, and when I walked in, his staff closed the door and left us two together. His head was down the paper. I said, Senator Byrd, I'm from Jones One. He said, what can I do for you? In a grumpy way. I said, Senator Byrd, I'm here about Bermuda. He says, so what? I said, but before I ask you what I'm looking for, I want to tell you about Bermuda's experience in life. What made Bermuda what it is? I said, it was a ship that was shipwrecked off Bermuda. It went down. And Shakespeare wrote The Tempest. And the minute I said the word tempest, his head came up. And he engaged me because he had read The Tempest. And he wanted to prove to me that he was knowledgeable about The Tempest. And guess what? I hadn't read The Tempest. So everything that he gave me, I would twist it around and give it back to him. And we went back and forward. The staff would come to do it. He says, come back, come back. At 10 minutes to 11, he gets up after I told him what I was looking for, walks around his desk, puts his arms around me and says, you know, I like you, and I guarantee you my vote. I'm going to have some of my friends vote for you. I was on a podcast on Friday morning preparing for a program at Prince's Hotel on Thursday. And in the course of discussion, the chap from Florida, because we're doing a lot of Florida insurance right now, was talking about the contribution that Senator Byrd made to Bermuda getting concessions with Florida. So what does that say? And I think this is important. It's all about relationships. You have to build relationships, build them on a personal basis. And I was fortunate to do that, whether it was Maggie Thatcher or Reagan, a whole bunch of people throughout, and get invited to many things. It is not that you go to Washington to make yourself a big representative. America, as big as it is, it's about individuals. England, it's about individuals. You are about individuals. People come to Bermuda, they say they want to see the government, they really want to see the premier. Now, if they don't want to see the premier, they want to see the person that the premier says you should see. It's about individuals. And I think when we recognize that alone, we begin to realize the fact that we really are a bunch of individuals that have to be respected. And also, that respect, though, comes first. You got to respect yourself. You got to devote yourself to yourself, and if you're a good person within yourself, other people will respect you. And that's why I think Bermuda has the greatest chance of being able to get through this very difficult time that we've been through, whether it's COVID or whether it is what post-COVID, and more importantly is how the world will change. I was doing a historical calculation the other day, and I was saying every 40 years, from 1860, every 40 years, the world has gone through this cycle of change. We're now in a major cycle. We Industrial Revolution, the computer revolution, the integration of that revolution, those two revolutions, and now we're talking about the AI revolution, which will then, and it speeds it up very fast. In 1920, the world population was 2 billion people. 100 years later, just 100 years later, the world population is now 8 billion people. What it said is the advances that humankind made during that period was incredible. So you can imagine what's going to happen to the next 100 years, which is in your grandchildren's lifetime, almost, that they'll see this massive change as the world speeds up and speeds up. And so Bermuda sitting here in the Atlantic, sitting here, has a very important role to play. If you think Google is just accidentally going to put a cable from Europe to Bermuda and have no real reason for it, they don't want to go to England and get tariffs and laws and the conflict that's going on in Europe, so they can bypass and come to Bermuda and go across to Europe and have tax advantages and all sorts of other things. So I don't get discouraged about Bermuda's future. What I might get discouraged about how much opportunities that we might be missing and how many opportunities that we might get by building for future generations. And so I say to all of you that we need to hold hands together. We need to be able to have civil conversations. I'm not interested in my accolades. I'm interested in the future of how our young people will receive their accolades. And when we do that, we will feel that our mission as a country, as leaders, as people who formulate the destiny of a country that will fit in with the rest of the world, in fact, be better than the rest of the world. We bragged in 1996, 95, 96 that we were the richest country in the world. We stuck our chest out. We felt good about it. Something went wrong. I'm not sure what it was. But let's get back on track, because nobody cares a damn about us, except we might think they care because our ego might tell us that. But the reality is they're busy trying to take and survive themselves. What we have to do is look out for Bermuda and how best Bermuda can be best served in order to enjoy the benefits not only of our life, but particularly to what we owe it to our children and our grandchildren, that when they grow up, they'll be able to look, as you looked at Alex Scott, Jennifer Smith, and others, quickly retired, you look at and you'd say, well, yeah, we made those steps that determine not so much as where we are, but where we came from and how we got there and how we can go further. And all I can say to you is, today is a day in infamy that we shall not forget. What a contribution that others have made, that we can make, and make Bermuda the place that is capable of being this shining light in the Atlantic. We were that way, we can be that way, and we should make sure that we are that way. And when we do that, we will find out that we are special then. Until then, we'll just become ordinary like anybody else. And I don't think Bermudians are really ordinary people. I've never seen a people that are so polite. Let's face it, we're nice people. Americans tell me all the time, when I go, whether it's in Turkestan or to the national conference, I've never seen a nice bunch of people. And I say to them, we're nice, but we can be naughty too. We can be naughty, but we're not treated fairly. And we want to make sure that we get our fair share of the action as you're getting your fair share of the action. And right now, there are too many people hurting. And we want to make sure that if we believe that God gave us a purpose, is to truly be our brother's keeper and to make sure that the man, whoever he is, or the lady, whoever he is, the child, whoever they are, will get a fair share and a fair shake in Bermuda. I don't think it's happening now, and I could not stand up here and take your accolades without telling you that we've got a lot of work to do to make Bermuda work. Thank you. Alex, come up here, boy.
Yes, thanks.
Which Alex is something? How you doing, boy? It looks like that. We should get Bobby. Hey, Bobby, come up here. Yeah. Here I am. So are you? Great job. I'll take this first. Stand right here, Bobby. Out of the way. Here we go. Thank you. Great stuff. Great stuff. Thank you guys. You should have wanted to follow you. No, I follow. Sir. Already? Okay. Congratulations. She wanted to know. She was a red man. A wolf was going to. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Walter Lister will give closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Protocol already been established. I'd just like to say that for me, it's been a class. I've heard so many things, many of them I've lived through, because I was in the house with Sir John, Dame Jennifer, and in 1972, the three of us ran for Parliament. Sir John was successful. 1976, I ran for Parliament with Dame Jennifer, and I was successful. And then 2 terms later, Dame Jennifer came. So I've had the distinct opportunity to be up close with the leaders of this country, and I had a first-class seat. And I know it wasn't easy for the three of them, because that post is one of the most difficult tasks you have in this country. But I think that although they were all different in their stance, they had one thing in common: trying to improve the quality of the people of Bermuda. And we are very thankful to them for that. And they've all made the history I heard this afternoon. It's history to you, but I lived a part of it. You can see I'm an old man, so you know I'm a part of that old stuff. But it was very, very interesting to hear many things over again. A lot of them I had to, I couldn't remember, but they've all come back to me. And it was a very, very great opportunity. The committee have been selecting members of Parliament, as the chairman said earlier, to respect and honor their contribution to Bermuda. And there are many of you who I'm sure we would like to consider. But I'd like to thank you for coming out and supporting this event. And thank you again, and back to the chairman.
You got it, Barry.
All right.
You got it. You're the last mayor.
Am I? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Last over.
But I'll be there. So you see, there was a loss and everyone's on one side. The best possible result. Everyone's tied at 46 for the top. 10 games ago.